Welcome to the Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, NMLS 134871. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Friday, April 2nd virtual show. You can also listen to our show on podcast or catch us on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and how they can affect your money. If you are listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our lineup for today's show, we will be having a panel conversation with our two guests. We have Liz Silkey of J.Hilburn Custom Menwear Brown, and we have Rhea J. Johnson of Covington of Dynamic Presence Corporation. We will also be having a conversation separately with Liz and also a separate conversation with Rhea J, a little bit more about their businesses. Great information and great guests in studio. For more information on any topic discussed, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And as we do each week, today we'll go ahead and start out with a little bit of money chat.
Money.
Keelan, what do you have for our listeners today for your money chat?
Well, today I'm going to talk about closing at the end of the month, and does it really matter when you close? This came up recently in a scenario, and I thought I'd address it today. So there's a myth in our industry that I still hear from agents and sometimes clients that you can save money by closing at the end of the month. So I'm going to address the famous month-end myth. And to do this, I first need to explain how interest actually works with a mortgage. So you do not actually pay interest until you have used the money in mortgages. In other words, interest is paid in arrears. When a mortgage payment is due on the first of the month, it's actually for the previous month. This is entirely different than rent. So let's look at April, for example. Today's April 1st, so why not? So if you're going to pay rent today, you'd be paying rent for April. Now, mortgages don't work that way. When you make a mortgage payment on the 1st, you're actually paying for March, the month previously. So now with that understanding in mind, now keep that concept in your brain that we need to talk about interim interest. So since closing on a purchase of a home occurs on different days of the month, you never know when your home is going to close. It is what it is, and what you negotiate could be the 5th, the 8th, the 20th. We don't know. But it would cause many different due dates for a mortgage company, regardless, because they're random. So in order to keep things uniform, all mortgage payments are due on the first of the month for the previous month's interest. So remember that old pay in arrears concept. So how do mortgage companies account for this initial month, considering there'll be an odd number of days from the day of closing until the first of the next month? And they solve that with interim interest. So interim interest is actually due at the closing table on the day you close your loan. And this is why you get to skip your first month's payment, not because it's free. And a lot of lenders will tell you that. It's shocking. I've heard that a lot. I've even had managers with previous companies tell us to tell customers that, which is not the case at all. And being a certified mortgage advisor, we know differently. It's because you've already paid that on the day of closing. So this is also why interim interest should not be considered a real closing cost, because it's a temporary part of your payment. So to address closing costs at the end of the month. So let's talk about this whole closing at the end of the month. And to do that, let's first look at closing at the beginning of the month. So let's say that you close your loan today, April 1st. You will pay the full month's interest at closing, skip your May payment, not because it's free, remember, because you already paid it in April when you closed. Your first payment would be due on June 1st. Now you will need a little bit more money at the closing table, but you will not have to make your first mortgage payment until a little over 60 days. From a cash flow perspective, it is more upfront, but you have a reprieve after the fact because you got the 60-day window before your next mortgage is going to be due. So with that being said, let's look at the closing at the end of the month. Let's just say that we rush to close at the end of the March instead of the beginning of April, which is today. In this case, you'd pay just 1 day of per diem interest at closing. You'd skip April payment because you already made it at the closing table, remember? And then your first payment would be due May 1st. The benefit to this is that you'll have a little less money due at the closing table, but your first payment would be due a little over 30 days instead of 60 days. So comparing those options, they actually wash out. I mean, financially, they are both equal. You're paying the same amount for the time you're using the money, regardless of the day you close. Really, the only benefit to closing at the end of the month is for those that are really, really tight on cash. But I know me and Tina, we would never, ever want our clients to be that tight. That's crazy. Like, we build in a little buffer for all of our customers because we're talking big numbers spread out over many, many years. And you want to set a correct expectation. I would rather always under promise and over deliver. So I'm going to have a number that they're prepared for a little higher. And I mean, you should have 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses saved in a savings account. So you really, our client's best interest is always going to come first. So don't ever cut it that close. So in reality of where you should be when buying a house, it makes no difference at all.
And great advice and great money chat. Yeah, it's interesting how you hear people in the industry say, yeah, you just get a month without a mortgage payment, or even worse, they say a free month, because yes, you do get a month without a mortgage payment, but it's not a free month. And this is Tina Mitchell with my mortgage minutes for the week. And I thought I would talk and bring in some appraisal facts. First of all, let's talk about the home inspection. The home inspection is different than the appraisal. The home inspection is where the inspector is coming in detail to let you know the condition of the home. That is not required by the lender. So you can choose to do an inspection or not. I would definitely do a home inspection. In this market, you're having to pre-inspect in order to get your offer accepted. However, you definitely want to have a home inspection. The lender needs to have the appraisal. Now, the appraiser is not giving you the condition of the home unless it's bad condition, meaning that the roof needs to be repaired or there's safety issues, something that jumps out visually to the eye that the appraiser sees. Otherwise, the appraiser is there to support value. Now, the appraiser isn't really there to come up with a value. It's to support the value on the contract that 2 real estate agent experts and buyers are willing to pay. So that's kind of the gauge that they use to come up with the value. Now, today I wanted to talk about the appraisal because the market is moving so quickly that there are occasions that the appraisers cannot support the value that you're paying for the home. Does that mean that your home is not worth that? It does not. It just means that there's not data to support it. I would say if you have multiple offers and it was bidded up with multiple people, that's what the market is willing to pay for the appraisal. Now, how they're determining value is they're coming up with comparable properties to be able to support that value. If it's a refinance, they're looking at whatever the lender's putting in that they need to support that value. Now, what they're coming up with their comps is closest in proximity, most recent sale, and most similar in style. That's bed, bath count, square footage. So those are the 3 areas that they're using to come up with the best comps. The appraiser can make adjustments, positive or negative, for recent sales and similar if the property is different in size or condition of the home, however, not proximity. Pending sales cannot be used to support the value. However, if new properties come in and the value came in low and you can show those new properties and what the value are and they've closed, then you can have an adjustment to the appraisal to use those values. Now, multiple offers, they're not considered in supporting the value either. So it doesn't matter if you have 30 people that come in and bid up that home by $200,000. If there's no comps to support the value cannot be supported by the appraiser. Now, parties that can talk with the appraiser, per regulations, any interest party in the real estate transaction except the lender. Well, the lender is pretty important. However, they can't talk to the appraiser. A lender also can't choose the appraiser. They're randomly chosen through the panel of appraisers that they've approved to be on their panel, but they have to be randomly chosen. Now, documentation for a borrower or for an agent, if it's a purchase, to help the appraiser to make the job easier to determine value: plats, surveys, deeds, conveyance, homeowners documents, floor plan specifications, neighborhood details, recent similar comparable properties, details and dates of upgrades. Really important if you have that information. Cost for those upgrades, energy efficient, green features, all of that is going to be helpful for the appraiser. It's not required. However, it's always nice if you have that information to make it easier for the appraiser. Now, as a borrower, you will receive a copy of the appraisal. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act, ECOA, requires creditors to automatically send a copy of the appraisal to you, the borrower. Now, if the appraisal comes in low, you can request a revaluation. However, you must be able to provide additional and better comps than what the appraiser came up with. And to be competitive in this market, you're probably waiving financing, which means you're waiving appraisal. If you're not waiving financing, you're definitely most likely saying that you're going to pay over what the appraisal comes in or be willing to. This is a brand new addendum that's been added to the contract in this crazy market, and it's called the AD, the additional down payment. I do want to give a shout out as I'm wrapping up my time here. If you paid a purchase price for $900,000, you did 20% down payment, that would be $160,000 cash for down payment. The appraisal comes in low at $800,000. You do not have to come in with an extra $100,000 to pay the seller. You would if you waive your finance contingency, but with financing creativity, you can just finance the same loan amount, increase your loan to value to 90% from 80%. That means you're coming in with the 10% down. Now, you may say, well, I have to pay private mortgage insurance. You do not. You can buy it out. You can still come in with the same down payment you were planning on coming in with. The seller's going to still get their $100,000 low appraisal, and your payment's going to be exactly the same. You're only coming in with a few extra $1,000 for the buyout of mortgage insurance. The importance of working with a lender that knows how to structure loans. And that's your money chat. Coming up next in the Money Hour, panel conversation with Liz Silky of J.Hilburn Custom Menswear Brand and Rhea J. Johnson of Covington of Dynamic Presence Corporation, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Have something important to say? Want to help improve our world? Need to promote your business uniquely and effectively? KKNW is the answer. Our staff helps broadcasters and podcasters create professional-sounding audio. Bring your talent and let our experts help you craft a radio show or podcast that best delivers your message. Learn more at 1150kknw.com. That's 1150kknw.com. KKNW, talk variety that's live and local. Some people know a good thing when they hear it. Alternative Talk 1150.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM, Friday, AM KKNW, the Friday, April 2nd virtual show. You can also listen to us on podcast or on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
It is a great day to talk about money, and that's what the show is all about: how to make money, save money, so you can have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you are listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And now on our show for our panel conversation, we would like to welcome Liz Silky of J.Hilburn Custom Menswear Brand and Rhea J. Johnson of Covington of Dynamic Presence Corporation, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much, Tina.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start out with a little bit about Liz. Liz Silky is a personal stylist with J.Hilburn, a custom menswear brand. She is from the San Francisco Bay Area. Her parents were Italian immigrants. And interestingly enough, her father was a tailor at the prestige menswear shop in Palo Alto. Liz graduated from University of San Francisco, majoring in accounting. She has worked as an auditor at the international CPA firm, has had several private accounting management positions. After 6 years in accounting, she decided to delve into recruiting with a large staffing firm where she spent 9 years as a recruiter and a sales area manager. Liz has lived in Seattle area since 1995 and has been married over 26 years. Liz, you've got me beat. We were married 26 years this year. Liz also has three gorgeous daughters. I've seen them. They're beautiful, ranging from age 24 to 16 years old, and has spent the last 15 years raising her wonderful girls. Liz, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tina, for having me.
Yeah. And then our second guest, Rhea J. Johnson, is a South Puget Sound thought leader on Discovery Channel. I lost my undercover billionaire hashtag. So forgetting hashtag undercover billionaire, growing up in Pierce County after the loss of her mother. Rhea J began serving her community and began the Daughter of a City, volunteering to clean parks with the mayor and local service clubs. Rhea J was an advocate in the making, serving as a voice on executive boards, the Lakewood Youth Council, and her daytime work environment. Rhea J continues to inspire her neighbors all across the nation. She has seen statewide success advocating our Washington state legislators regarding 211 and teaching health centers. Rhea J and her campaign, hashtag We4Rhea, ran for local office 4 times plus 2 appointments, knowing, as she states, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work, quote from Edison. Rhea J, thank you so much for joining us on the show as well.
Hello.
Love it. So excited to have you both. We're going to start out with Liz. I'm going to ask you both this question, but you're just in this order on my screen. So I'm going to start with Liz. What brought you into your line of work? I know you had an accounting background. It looks like a recruiting background. And what got you transitioned into this line of work?
So, this kind of being as personal stylist for J.Hilburn just kind of reaches out to all my backgrounds, especially my dad being a tailor from Italy. I mean, I grew up with fabric. I grew up with a lot of great fabric. But I also have a business side to me, and that's why I majored in accounting. And of course, I had to make a living doing that. And just that marries the two. J.Hilburn really marries the two. It's my own little business, but yet I look at fabric and I touch fabric every day. And I'm in the business of, a personal touch in terms of making men feel happy and confident. So it's a customer-based service as well. And that kind of comes from my recruiting and staffing days. It's just being, impeccable customer service and a value add to someone's life.
I love that. What is it? Look good, play good, get paid good. So
there you go.
I've never heard that. I love that.
I think it was
by the way.
Yeah, I think it was Jerry Rice or somebody said that, a professional football player. But it's true. When you feel good, you look good, and you just, got that little swag about you. It just goes out and exudes from you in everything you do. And I love that. Right. So good for you spreading that in the world. Rhea J, I'm excited to talk to you about the same thing. What brought you in, and how awesome of you to go out there for the things that you're tackling in your life, big moves. What brought you into doing what you're doing?
Oh, thank you. Tina mentioned it in my bio, but really, I just got involved at a critical time in my life. I was 18 when my mother passed, and I got involved with my city. So I started cleaning up streets instead of going in the streets. That's what I like to say. And I'm not afraid to talk. I'm not afraid to show up. So I ended up being at some of the most amazing, phenomenal, and well-respected tables, voicing an opinion on a lot of the times we're not there, we're not present. And so that's where I got my start in my city, which is not Covington. I get my last name is actually Johnson Covington, but everybody says, we love the Kent area. We love Kent Covington, but I actually live in the city of Lakewood.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Well, it's great too. I'm sure you've got an amazing story, and not enough time in today's show, but it's great to see in what you're doing, obviously comes directly to your story. Liz also in what she's doing now, obviously directly comes from her story and inspiration from her dad. And so I just love that when you're really rocking it in your business space, it's always attached somehow to your story. So Liz, for you, what is currently happening in your industry right now today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we all know about the retail industry now, and it's been really, really impacted during COVID. But there's some really great positives that the retail industry can take out of the COVID period. Number one, it's going online. That's obvious. I mean, with all the consolidations and which is kind of sad in terms of shopping malls going away, department stores. Online's the best bet. The good news for J.Hilburn is it's always been really online just because it's made to measure clothing. And a kind of a sidebar, and I'll kind of talk about made to measure clothing, especially for men, is that industry or that sector of the industry is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, tied into online, men are just going to be able to order clothes online for themselves, knowing it's going to fit, and they might even have an opportunity to customize each detail.
Yeah, and I wanted to have you on the show, Liz, because I've actually seen you present and just all of the tools in being able to present the clothes and how they can do their measurements and all of that. And I think it's critically and important for men, especially. I mean, women we need it as well, but men are just their bodies are so different, and if they don't have their clothes fitting them correctly, they actually are definitely are not going to look their best. So yeah. And Ria J, for you, what is happening in your industry today?
Thank you so much, Tina. And I will say, shout out to the suits. There's nothing better than a man in a nice fitting suit. Take it from me and half all the ladies. I'll be your representative.
I love that. We got the three ladies in here. Yes, for the men listening to the show, Keelan's a great dresser, so he knows the importance of that for sure.
Thank you, Tina.
So in my industry, we see it in the news. I, given a certain path in my life, am in the industry of politics. So we know what that politics is like. Very divisive, its core is to argue and to debate and to advocate for the things that you want, and as a community come together and create your own laws for the current times. But just a plug for the Undercover Billionaire, part of the reason why I'm just so proud of being a part of that show is the hope. Is entrepreneurship still active in America? I think with the TV and news constantly broadcasting today's industry of politics, it's really nice to be able to be a part of a project that can inspire not only you guys, but me and the next generation.
That is so cool. I like that show, by the way. There's the last episode. I think there was a gal that went to Tacoma, I believe. And then there's Grant Cardone on there, who I love. Grant Cardone. I nerd out on him all the time. So you go, girl. That is awesome. We only have a minute and a half, believe it or not, in our panel conversation, but you both will get your own individual segments too. But before we go, I'm a real quick answer from both of you. And one of my favorite questions is what do you love most about what you do? And I'll start with Liz.
Yeah, customer service all the way, 100%, and providing a value, in this instance, to men. It's just a great service to provide to men. It's set up to be easy and convenient for them to shop, because most men don't like to shop. And so it's just a great setup and a great opportunity for them to take advantage of. So it's really all about the customer service. And you know what? They look good, they feel good, makes me happy, they're happy. It's a great thing all around.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, in this shop online thing, I have to order 6 shirts of the same one to find one that fits me, because if a shirt doesn't fit you right, you look like a slob. So
Right.
it's super important that it's
So
kind
you
of the
need to
right
get you
shape.
need to get with Liz, because she's going to get you all dialed in.
I got this. That's exactly where I'm going, is
There
like
you
just to
go.
get that done where it's like, I like that and it's going to fit. Boom. I'm all about it, Liz. And same question for you, Rhea J. What do you love most about what you do?
I love being able to make an impact on things that I find interesting, and it's beneficial to the whole Washington state and the nation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the panel conversation. Coming up next on the Money Hour, how J.Hilburn can save men time and money. Liz Silky of J.Hilburn Custom Menswear Brand, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Saving Great Animals, a Seattle-based dog rescue organization, matches families with dogs that are the best fit. Dogs that come from overcrowded animal control shelters, from abandonment or neglect. The key to Saving Great Animals' success is a trial adoption program, including training and counsel as needed. This way, you know you have the right dog before the adoption is final. Saving Great Animals relies solely on donations, so please visit savinggreatanimals.org today.
The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey, every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. right here on KKNW AM 1150. Join the show to experience expert advice and knowledge on today's events in our local economy that can affect your money. That's every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. with a repeat show on Sundays at 8 a.m. For more information about The Money Hour radio show and their guests, visit themoneyhour.com. That's themoneyhour.com.
Alternative Talk 1150 online at 1150kknw.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, April 2nd virtual show. You can also listen to our show on podcast or on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and one show at a time. If you are hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio, back in studio, still in studio, Liz Silky of J.Hilburn Custom Menswear Brand. How J.Hilburn can save men time and save the money right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
So you obviously got, first of all, I got to shout this out because last week we had an all guys show, which never, like, it's always girls and just me. Yeah. And now we have a subject about men's clothing. So like we're moving on up here. And I'm trying
to put a balance in here for you, Keelan. So, there you go.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. This is exciting. Tell us about J.Hilburn.
Yes. So J.Hilburn, custom menswear brand, covering everything from a simple cotton t-shirt all the way to luxury tuxes. Company's been around since 2009, and they started with custom shirts, and they later progressed into suits. And I say for the last 4 or 5 years, they started looking at adding pieces like business casual and now really casual. And we had to do a complete pivot, actually, in adding more garment choices in the last year. because of COVID, and it's the whole on demand in terms of work from home. So that's kind of the history of J.Hilburn. But here's the bottom line, and really, you call it purpose statement, mission statement. It's just really to provide men with an effortless, time-saving, personalized experience, custom-made clothing with a stylist and help them every step of the way, and gives them great confidence and helps them look good and feel good, and really all for a great value.
So Liz, yeah, as Keelan stated earlier, I mean, looking good is important. And as you stated, because then you feel good. And when you feel good, you have a better quality of life. You're a better father. You're a better son. You make more money because you have that confidence. Now, time is really important as well for everybody. So how are you helping your clients save time by shopping with you?
Yeah, this is the ultimate for so many of my clients. And really, it's about made to measure. And ultimately online. So this way you don't have to get in a car and drive somewhere, i.e. to a shopping mall or department store. You can just do it all at your fingertips. But let's back up for a second and set this up. I mean, it's really all about the fit. I mean, fit's very important. So what the J.Hilburn process is actually setting up fit profiles for each category and or item. So for example, dress shirts, some men like them longer, some men like them shorter. That's a personalized fit. Casual shirts, yet another profile. They typically are shorter. Polo knits take into account the stretch fabric that we offer. So that's yet a different fit. Outerwear, really different fit from everything else, because a top coat has to go over your suit coat, or maybe just a shirt. So all these things really kind of boil down to each profile. And the saving time, so that sounds like it's very involved, and it is setting this all up on the front end, but on the back end, it is at your fingertips. So my clients can literally go into their account, select the profile they want and need, customize it, and then just either send it off to the company or send it off to myself. They maybe can tap into me on a quick Zoom call. Hey, what do you think? Send the order to me. I can run out to their home and show them some fabric. So basically I'm bringing the store to them. So they really just don't have to do anything. So a big time saver.
Yeah, and just listening to you, and again, seeing you share about J.Hilburn, all of the things that the men have to decide to make sure they have that right fit. And just like you said, you get it all dialed in, you can help with getting that set up, and then they're ready to go, and they can make their shopping item.
Right, exactly.
You mentioned as simple as a t-shirt. Like, by the way, that's my favorite clothing item as a guy is a V-neck t-shirt. And you can dress, like if you get the right shirt, right fabric, right fit, it could be the best looking shirt of anything that you'd wear. So it's all about, the fit, the quality of the shirt. And that itself can be complicating for guys. So this is a huge thing you're doing for people. Your value statement, your company mission statement mentions saving money or value. And so I wanted you to elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's just really easy. Now, I know that's an important question for this time slot in the money hour. But, bottom line is factory direct to clients. So J.Hilburn doesn't own any inventory. We don't have any retail space across the country. We only have 2 showrooms, and actually we're fortunate to have a showroom here in Bellevue, Washington, but it's a really small space. It's not retail, it's a showroom. So all these costs are saved by not having overhead is back to the client. So it's cost savings for them. It's just really simple.
Yeah, that is awesome. So, Liz, we've talked about the fit, and you've shared the importance about that. Let's talk about how important, and Keelan gave a little shout out there, but how important really is fabric?
Yeah, fabric is really, in my opinion, everything. I mean, it all starts with fabric, the touch of it, the look of it, and long-lasting fabric as well. So we don't want garments to fall apart within 2 years. We just want them to be everlasting. So it is all about the fabric. Fit's really important, but we got to start with this. And J.Hilburn is so really intuitive in terms of who they actually partner up with fabric mills. We've been using these mills for years. Most of them are outside of Italy, so most of our fabrics are 100% Italian. Albini is a huge shirting mill factory in Italy for suiting, Vitale Barabas, Zegna, Laura Piana for luxury fabrics. They provide such amazing product. And it's really important because the longevity and these stories of these mills are just amazing. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting someone from Vitale at a conference a couple of years ago in Dallas, and he was 13th generation in his family to take over his business. I mean, they date back to the late 1600s. I mean, that's just so amazing and quite the story. So you can see their passion for their business and their products on their faces. I mean, it's just, they believe in it.
You gotta love Europe and how old stuff is over there, how young America is. You don't realize, like 1600s. That's crazy. I made that mistake, Liz. I used to buy these like shirts that look good, and they're cheaper ones. And then next thing you know, you got a hole in it. And then if you buy 7 of them, guess what? If you would have just got the good one to begin with, you'd still have it. So it doesn't make any sense to cut corners, get those essential pieces and run with it. So it sounds like these mills are incredible partners for J.Hilburn. Why specifically did they choose these specific mills and factories?
So, again, for the mills, it's just putting out a wonderful product. Factories, we partner with the Tall Group. They're based overseas and they have several factories in Asia. And really, it's about the way they conduct business and their true commitment in manufacturing. Well, shirts is really what they do, but they've gone into a lot of garments. 1 out of 8 shirts sold here in the United States is through the Tall factories or group. That's just amazing volume, and they're so committed to perfecting the shirt. And they have factories set up for made to measure, just because they use different pattern machines, unlike off the rack or just standardized measuring or standardized measurements. So that's a huge important factor of using these manufacturers.
So obviously, Liz, these factories and mills are a great business partner to J.Hilburn. What other reasons or why behind the company partnering with them?
That's a great question. And the other reason is sustainability. Just like Keelan mentioned, holes in garments, what do you do with them? You have to throw them out, waste. And a lot of people don't realize that the apparel business is one of the largest industries in the world for waste. So J.Hilburn is very, very committed. So are these mills and factories about, eliminating waste from product standpoint and in terms of what they spill out in the environment. For example, the mills in Italy, they're very, very conscious about how much water they use in their product. Because fabric uses a lot of water. The Tall Group, very, very conscious of their working decisions. In fact, their employees are like family to them. And, being part of those communities where their factories are is huge. And they do so much for their community. So really partnering with these mills and factories is so important. And really, it's all about sustainability. Again, we don't want garments just falling apart in the next 2 years.
Right.
It also sounds obviously the story connected to these factories and mills and the why behind what they're doing is probably pretty powerful part of the partnership as well, right, Liz?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sounds to me like just clothes made with love, and that's awesome. Like from start to finish, family through the process to you. That's so cool. And you keep referring to this word customized, and that's awesome. That's a big deal. And I think about fit when I think about that. Aside from fit, what does that mean exactly as far as customized?
Yeah, so real quick, customization is just that. We have 16 different collars to choose from, 14 different cuffs, 23 colors and stitching, 21 buttons. I mean, I can go on and on in terms of the choices. Now that sounds overwhelming for your typical guy, but I walk it through them and they either have me do the choices or they're really into it. We can sit down together and go through all those choices, but each garment does have customization involved in. So the time is just about the client and what they want to spend on it.
Yeah, and what a great and fun thing to do, Liz, for men to just really pick out everything, single thing, including the stitching of each of their shirts, and exciting process for them. I thought it was exciting for us, but I looked at what you guys have going. It's really exciting for the men. They need to come up with women's clothing. So, Liz, thank you so much for being here with us on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Coming up next in the Money Hour, hashtag undercover billionaire, hashtag rooted in Tacoma, Washington. Rhea J. Johnson of Covington of Dynamic Presence Corporation, right here at 1150 AM KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150. We're on your radio at 1150 AM. We're on your HD radio at 98.9 Channel 3.
So many ways to listen.
We're on the web at 1150kknw.com, streaming live audio and video as well as MP3 archives of many of our shows.
So many ways to listen.
And now, we're on your smartphone or tablet. Download our free app in the Apple App Store or Google Play and take Alternative Talk 1150 anywhere you go.
So many ways to listen.
Alternative Talk 1150, here to uplift your day.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, April 2nd virtual show. You can also listen to our show on podcast or catch us on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market. We are here to help you in today's economy. And now in studio, we have Rhea J. Johnson of Covington of Dynamic Presence Corporation. Our topic, hashtag undercover billionaire, hashtag rooted in Tacoma, Washington, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Rhea J., thank you again for being here.
No, my pleasure, Tina. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I was going to do a bio, but we had our panel. So Keelan, I'll let you take the first question.
Thanks, because I would have probably just sat there in silence waiting for you to do it too. So we're good. It worked out. Well, I can tell you, Rhea J, you're such a breath of fresh air. You got this vibrant energy about you, and you could just tell if anybody could see you on video, they'd see that as well. But how would you say that people describe Rhea J Covington?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. 3 things: youthful exuberance. If you haven't seen it yet, if it's not beaming out, that would probably be the first and foremost. I do have a vibe. I do have an energy about me. I'm intellectually curious. I ask those questions that may not get asked, and lot of logic, where there tends to be none. And I'm not afraid to show up. So I'm fearless. They say I'm a fearless and bold person. And so I'll take that and run with it.
I love it. And I love to see your passion in all of the segments and conversations that we've had, watching your expressions when talking with Liz. And so you can tell that you're just, you're passionate about everything in the space that you're in. And I think that's what's exciting about life is if you're living in the moment in that second right now, you have a beautiful life no matter what presents itself, because within that second, you can find something positive. I love that. And, also yes, me too. It's just exciting stuff that you're doing. So can you share how long have you been investing?
I've been investing since 2005. I believe that was my first exposure. I did nonprofit, so investing was always an interest, but I started with a 401k, and that was my first experience with investing. And then I purchased my home, which I love real estate. I worked for a realtor's office also, shout out Allen Realtors. But I bought my home in 2012. So really the bottom of the market, really what we're looking at.
That's awesome. As my listeners know, I was a financial advisor, and my passion behind mortgages is I love real estate as an investment. I flip some homes, and just as a tool for investment, I don't think there's anything in the world that's better than real estate as far as growing your money. In my personal opinion, everybody's got their cup of tea, but that's mine. Are you, in fact, a billionaire?
In hope, yes, multi-billionaire. In dollars, not so much. But as you know, I am on Undercover Billionaire, and I'm just loving everything that it's surrounding the TV show on Discovery. So
Yeah, well, when you come from a place of curiosity, because that's another thing that's really important to me, is I live my life through curiosity. I wonder when. So curiosity, I wonder when I'm going to be a billionaire.
yeah,
So
it's a
how
matter
are
of,
you? Yeah, what was that?
it's just a matter of time,
It's
time and
just
effort.
yeah, time and effort. And I always ask the question, I wonder how. I wonder when, and I wonder how. It's just so fun to wake up with the curiosity bug because it just makes life so exciting. So, how are you on the Discovery Channel?
Great question. I wake up every day and don't have the slightest idea of why I made it on a reality show before the age of 40. I mean, that right there. But I have to just give the technicality of it. The mayor of Tacoma is one of the most dearest person to my heart, and she invited me to the table of 12 women associated with the Undercover Billionaire. And so that is how I got to be a part of the project.
And isn't it great the connections? Because we know everybody that we need to know to get to the places that we want or connect with the people that we want to connect with. And, through those connections and the passion that you have for what you do, it lands you in great places to where you can make the biggest difference in the message that you have to share, correct?
Correct. Being in politics, you don't instantly think entrepreneurship. You don't instantly think money. But I always was the moderate of the bunch. Just I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to run for office. I want to make it happen. I want to make the greatest impact where I can. And so this is really truly a merge of it. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, I don't believe in seeing is believing. I believe in believing is seeing. So once you believe that path, sapere videre, once that path is projected in your mind, it'll come in front of you and all the pieces will come together and you'll attract it into your life. That secret stuff is real. I'm telling you, people, believe. So why are you on the Undercover Billionaire? Are you actually the actual Undercover Billionaire, or what exactly are you allowed to say?
You sound like my office. My office said, so you're not the billionaire? And FYI, Keelan, I was a Grant follower prior to the show. And so I constantly tweet out, like, if Grant came to my city, if he came to Tacoma, I would have been kicked off the island. I would have been like, I know you, Uncle G.
Uncle G, that's right.
No, but I really, the 3 points that I put is the Undercover Billionaire Monique came to Tacoma and she did her investor pitch. As I mentioned, you got to watch the show. I'm horrible with spoilers, but it's on the Discovery Channel, stream Discovery Plus. It's a great investment. There's shows for everybody, you, your kids, your neighbor, everything. But in the investor pitch, I heard 3 things. And to your point of seeing or believing is seeing, I've always wanted to be a venture capitalist. Always. But when do you ever, at my income level, get that opportunity? And so when I heard that, I was there. I've been watching the stock market. I knew what a venture capitalist was, which that I might have been the only person in the room. And then she talked about the C-suite. I knew what a C-suite was. And so again, when she made her investor pitch, I knew everything that I knew part of the things that she was talking about. And then thirdly, it was really the product. Just to give a backstory, I purchased for $100 CMOS, but I didn't know what it was. I just purchased it because it truly is popular right now. And I wanted to do health and wellness in quarantine. I planted a tree. I've been staying at home. I wanted to do something for myself, but I let that product spoil. and I didn't know it spoiled. And so when she mentioned one of her key ingredients in Rooted, which is juice shots with ginger and sea moss, and it was a lifestyle, I wanted the product. I wanted to be a VC, and I wanted to be in the C-suite. And those were my reasons for joining in on Undercover Billionaire.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I wanted to fill everybody in. So Monique came to Tacoma, did her pitch. I mean, she's with no money at all. They just throw her in the streets and she's got to figure it out. She's actually a billionaire and nobody knows it. She pretends like she's broke and knows nothing. And she has to find all these resources. And she comes up with this drink that she's going to launch because there's a need for health in Tacoma. And that is what Rhea J's talking about, FYI.
Thank you for the background. That is amazing. So, Rhea J, what is #Rooted?
So as Keelan said, Rooted is the company and the lifestyle that the Undercover Billionaire Monique created. I say it was the day she was hungry and had to eat a potato from Wendy's, I'm assuming, that she realized like, hey, here goes a need. But it's a mobile franchise. It's ginger sea moss juice shots. It's going to be fruit leathers. It will be, the sky's the limit with Monique. I support her 100%. So it could be a thousand other things, but definitely follow Rooted on Instagram. I think it's Rooted Lifestyle on Instagram.
COVID-19, let's talk about that and your investment strategy. Obviously, it's rocked our world for many different reasons in every industry. So what are your thoughts on investment strategies as far as COVID?
So I really decided to invest in myself. We know that the market was a great entrance, given COVID. And so I definitely jumped in head first, among other things. I bought things that I continuously use. So that was my strategy is, cream of wheat. I bought that stock. I bought Zoom. Dynamic Presence is a tech industry that I started with my father. And so, and my parents and my family. And so I invested in those things that I use daily to start. And I learned about Bitcoin. Been wanting to learn about Bitcoin for the past 10 years. And, I bought Cash App, I bought Square because they have the Cash App, and Cash App, you're able to invest in Bitcoin. And so I just did $1, $2, $3, just so I could understand the market that I was attempting to learn about.
Well, there's not much to hedge against inflation, and real estate, gold, Bitcoin would be there too. So, Rhea J, share how you were connected with our show, The Money Hour.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. I wanted to incorporate this question because I'm just happy to be here. I'm thankful for the things that you're doing. I love to talk about money, and not necessarily have the peers to talk about it with. And so actually the Gap Man, so a plug for the Gap Man. I think it's a BNI network. He does, Medicare or something of that nature, but the Gap Man is what I remember. I went to high school with the gentleman. He heard about Rooted. He invited me to the network, and that networking opportunity really is the reason why I'm here today. So I just wanted to say thank you to your staff, you and the Gap Man and the BNI network.
Well, thank you for the shout out, and Gap Man, thank you for getting an amazing guest here for the Money Hour.
We are, unfortunately, Rhea J, time flies when you're having fun. We're almost out of time. We got a minute left, but I wanted you to leave with our listeners. Obviously, it's a huge inspiration. You're very passionate about growing your money and making an impact on this world. And we need more of that, especially now more than ever. So what piece of advice would you give entrepreneurs currently or wanting to be entrepreneurs?
Yeah, thank you, Keelan. Thank you for having me. Thank you for watching the show. I appreciate that. So we'll have to chat offline, but really my goal was to talk about Undercover Billionaire. My goal was to talk about Rooted. It's really to watch the Undercover Billionaire on repeat and take notes. Learning from those who experience things and applying it to your own situation really can make a difference on your path. Learn the struggle. by standing on the shoulders of giants. Find a mentor, find a few mentors, and just do it. Become that entrepreneur.
What a great advice and a great way to end the show. Yes, being in part of and inspired by someone's story, learning their challenges so you can connect them to the challenges that you have and know that those challenges are leading you exactly where you need to go, as long as you have the space created for yourself to see that. And then obviously having people that you can look up to, that you respect, that can help you through that journey through life. So thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Liz, thank you again for joining us on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It was just a great fun and great pleasure.
You're very welcome. This is your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We are your local mortgage experts, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend. We look forward to talking more money with you next week, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, NMLS 134871. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Highlands Residential Mortgage Limited, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Highlands Residential Mortgage.